organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, child endangerment, a baby abandoned at the University of Iowa hospital.
And a young author, a student at the University of Iowa, is making a big name for herself.
Cooler temps and cloudy skies are in the forecast for the rest of finals week.
Hear from head wrestling coach Tom Brands.
And many other Hawkeye grapplers coming up in sports.
Good evening and thanks for tuning in for this live edition of Daily Iowan TV. I'm Alana Neal.
And I'm Jeremy Meyer. A woman from Davenport is facing criminal charges after giving birth to her baby in a toilet at the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics. Ashley Houtzenrader attempted to first flush the baby down the toilet and then abandoned it in a hospital trash can. Police said the 22-year-old thought the baby was dead when she tried to flush it down the toilet. UIHC employees later found the baby alive, but Houtzenrader faces a maximum of 2 years in prison.
A Facebook event is making its way around, inviting UI graduating seniors to not shake President Bruce Harrell's hand at graduation. Harrell will be present at most graduate ceremonies, this Saturday. The event page encourages students to say things to the president as they walk on stage. This includes, quote, "Resign please," or "You thwarted our school's democracy and you won't get away with it." The page also says Harold needs to be reminded that his presence is illegitimate at the university.
Well, graduation is coming fast this weekend, and many students are reflecting on their 4 years here at the UI. Daily Iowan TV reporter Molly Shen caught up with some senior students to see what advice they have for current students before they leave for good.
You can see from the background image, a lot of students are graduating for this semester. So what's the suggestion for current students?
I would definitely suggest to get out of your comfort zone a lot, and don't be afraid to do what you want to do, because that's what college is for. First time is to trying to be active, really involved into the community, to try to make more friends with not only Chinese students but also students from across cultural.
Don't slack. Those are the most important years. You're going to have a really hard senior year if you slack your freshman year like I did. So don't be lazy.
What's your favorite event in the 4 years academic life?
Dance Marathon is a great event. Raised over $2 million this year and millions of dollars in the past.
Stadium itself is just really cool, and the student section is just really fun, and it just really gets you into school spirit and all that stuff. And then our football team was really good this year, so that was really fun.
4 years academic life makes students learn a lot. So for graduate students, what have they learned for the campus for their 4 academic years?
Start to talk with your professors about the future, what that's like, and they really start to push you towards what's going to be expected of you in the real world.
That when I wanted to apply for graduate school, it was too late to start in the senior year.
So congrats for the students who will graduate for this semester. Molly Shen from Daily Iowa TV.
While potential candidates continue to battle for the presidency, the current president is headed out of the country. President Barack Obama will travel to Hiroshima, Japan this month as the first American president to visit the site where the United States dropped an atomic bomb. The trip will highlight the continued commitment of peace in a world without nuclear weapons. The White House ruled out the possibility of Obama apologizing for the bombing of Hiroshima that killed 140,000 Japanese in 1945.
The race for the presidency just keeps going, this time in West Virginia for another Tuesday primary. Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton had the lead in the Democratic race, but Bernie Sanders came out with a win tonight in the East Coast state. And on the Republican side, Donald Trump won as the only Republican candidate still in the race. This was his first time taking on a primary as the single candidate, and it tested whether or not Republican supporters fully stand by him.
8 people were charged and 7 arrested because of multiple federal raids last week in both Iowa and Wisconsin. Special agents with the FBI arrested 29-year-old Susan Martinez of Marshalltown and 25-year-old Alfredo Morales of Des Moines. According to law enforcement officials, they confiscated a total of $250,000, over 6 pounds of meth, 14 guns, ammunition, and meth-making supplies.
Tornadoes struck southern Oklahoma this morning, leaving 2 dead. The storms destroyed a radio station building and many homes after forecasters declared a tornado emergency for a few towns in the path of the storm. Iowa, Illinois, and Nebraska received reports of tornadoes as well, but no injuries or damages were reported in those states.
And while these tornadoes have been destroying homes, one tornado in New Hawken, Nebraska didn't ruin one man's spirit.
76-year-old Robin Stoll managed to survive the storm with only minor cuts and scrapes by holding onto a tree in the middle of the storm. He didn't think it was his time, and he's happy to be alive.
Well, luckily, the weather hasn't been too crazy here in Iowa. Let's toss it over to Becca Scatton to see what the rest of the week looks like.
That's right, guys. It may be the last week of the semester, but the temperatures this week don't look like it's almost summer. Tomorrow's looking like it may be the warmest of the week. In the morning, we'll start the day with temperatures in the low 60s with cloudy skies. Tomorrow afternoon, temps will warm up to the low 70s and cloudy skies. Tomorrow night, temps dip slightly to the upper 60s, but there's a 95% chance of thunderstorms. Taking a look at the rest of our week. Thursday has a high in the upper 60s with mostly cloudy skies. And for anyone moving out on Friday, you might want to get out early as there's a 60% chance of showers Friday afternoon. Moving into the weekend, the temperatures continue to drop with a high of only 60 on Saturday with partly cloudy skies. As the weekend continues, the temperatures will stay in the upper 50s for most of the day with partly cloudy skies. Monday, temperatures may start to climb slightly as we begin next week. Good luck with your finals, Hawkeyes, and enjoy your last week in Iowa City.
While the weather may be beautiful in Iowa City, people around the world are facing a harsh reality. 5 of the Solomon Islands in the Pacific Ocean are now underwater. Rising sea levels and erosion are to blame, but scientists are pointing to climate change as well. 6 of the other islands, are partially destroyed. The rising water and erosion destroyed 2 villages so far.
As the end of the school year approaches, most students are shouldering their final week of the semester, but UI senior Maggie Martin is preparing to publish her very first novel. Mary Kate Harrion has more on Iowa's next soon-to-be-published writer.
Maggie started writing early in her life in just a journal, and her love of telling stories spiraled from there. Now, as a senior in college, she was just given the news that her novel, The Big F, is going to be published.
I figured out that it was being published when I was visiting my sister at school in New York, and so I was in the city where my publisher is, and that was really cool. And I was with my whole family, which we're not normally all together, so it just kind of happened in this cool moment.
The University of Iowa is known for their amazing writing program, and it was one of the main reasons Maggie chose to continue her education towards becoming a published writer here in Iowa City.
I came to Iowa because of the writing school. I actually went to journalism camp as a high school student through the University of Iowa, and I kind of knew that this is where I wanted to be because it was such a great literary community, and it's proved to be the best place as a writer to live and go to school.
Not only is Maggie busy getting ready to graduate this upcoming weekend, but she's also going to have a busy upcoming year getting ready for her novel to be released.
You can currently find a copy of Maggie's novel on Swoon Reads until October. And once it's through the editing process, it will hit stores everywhere in September of 2017.
Maggie hopes that young adults will relate to the story and the main character, and that it will have an impact on their lives.
People who aren't sure what they want to do with their life and feel pressure from either their family or society on what they should do. This book is all about making your own path and figuring out what you want to do yourself and figuring out what makes you happy, and so I'm really excited to be able to share that message with people.
Even though Maggie's dream of becoming a published writer has already come true, she is excited for her future in writing and to see where it is going to take her.
Iowa City is adding another brewery to the mix. The Iowa City Economic Development Committee reviewed a request earlier Tuesday from Brig Grove Brewery in Solon to help support upgrades for their planned facility in the college town. They're asking for $40,000 from the city. The new brewery and tap room will be located at 1225 South Gilbert Street. Plans are in the works for outdoor seating and access to bike trails. Now, last year, wrestling had a very exciting season. They had the grapple, the gridiron at Kinnick. Now, in the offseason, looking ahead to 2016.
That's right. Let's go ahead and toss it over to Katie and Colin in the sports studio for more about that.
What a year it has been to be a wrestling fan in the state of Iowa. So many huge events being held right here in the Hawkeye State.
With grapple on the gridiron, the Big Ten Championships, the national duels, and the Olympic trials, fans found Iowa City as the wrestling hub.
And there were 4 Hawkeye wrestlers that spent their last 4 years in Iowa gearing up for the biggest event in all sports, the Olympic Games. Daniel Dennis is a former Hawkeye hoping to stand with a gold medal in his hand come this summer after he punched his ticket to Rio.
Wrestling reporter Zach Mackey took a closer look at the Hawkeye Wrestling Club and their ability to send wrestlers to compete on the biggest stage.
If you want to be the best, you have to wrestle and be around the best. That's the mentality of University of Iowa Hawkeye Wrestling Team and the Hawkeye Wrestling Club. The Hawkeye Wrestling Club was started up back in 1977 with the intent to send United States wrestlers to the international stage, and the group has done just that, sending former Hawkeyes on to national success.
2006 and 2008, I'm looking at our team, and to myself, I'm saying that we're going to have some powerful guys that are motivated to win internationally. And so we're going to have to do something here.
Brands himself was a product of the Hawkeye Wrestling Club back in the day and still looks back on his time as a positive one.
First of all, I went through it. So, I mean, we had guys like Joe Williams, Lincoln McElravy, myself and my brother Royce Alger, all wrestle in this Hawkeye Wrestling Club. And then when I got hired here, we were missing that ingredient a little bit.
Coach Tom Brands and the club doesn't have to travel far to find their talent.
It's not a recruiting process. One of the things about our philosophy is we keep our in-house guys. So, like, every guy that you see, and I should say most guys that you see, are alum here. That's important to us as well. We have gone outside, and we have a couple outside this year coming in. But, we want to make sure that our best guys have the opportunity to train internationally past their collegiate careers.
The Hawkeye Wrestling Club is funded by outside sources of wrestling fans alike. The club also does multiple fundraisers a year to help with the cost. Now, the club will be sending one wrestler in Daniel Dennis on to the Olympics in Rio come this summer, but Coach Brands also looks to the 2 that were not able to punch their ticket to the big event.
Yeah, it's good. You have him win. That's very good. And then you see somebody like Metcalf or Ramos that didn't win. And it's, you spend a lot of years with guys that, you're training together to go out on top. And I mean top of the world. And then, things don't go the way that you want them to go. And then that's hard too. But you know what? Wrestling's a sport that's very unique because it's so personal. It's one-on-one. It's personal. And, the highs are higher and the lows are lower.
Zach Mackey for Daily Iowan TV Sports.
University of Iowa wrestlers Nathan Burak and Alex Meyer were just recently named to the 2016 National Wrestling Coaches Association Division I All-Academic Team. The academic team is made up of 116 total athletes, including 5 NCAA champions, 2 NCAA runner-ups, and 36 All-Americans. Now, with the 2015-2016 sports season coming to an end here at Iowa, it's a time to commemorate the great work that many have put in. And tomorrow we hear from University of Iowa head baseball coach Rick Heller.
His team is currently riding the ledge, sitting at 9th place in the Big Ten, with the top 8 teams getting to compete in the Big Ten baseball tournament. That's going to do it for Katie and I in the sports studio. Jeremy and Lana, back to you two.
Well, just in time for the summer, Budweiser is making a new name for itself.
That's right. Anheuser-Busch announced the company is replacing the Budweiser logo with the word America on its 12-ounce cans and bottles this summer. They will be available for May 23rd through the election in November and aim to, quote, inspire drinkers to celebrate America and Budweiser's shared values of freedom and authenticity.
Well, thank you for joining us here live on Daily Iowan TV.
Head on over to dailyiowan.com for all the latest news updates. And for Daily Iowan TV, I'm Alana Neal.
And I'm Jeremy Meyer. Have a great night.